What's up, guys? Texas Platinum is back with another video for you. We got Matt Myers, Matt Madrid, and myself. All of us survived the winter storm, the snowpocalypse of Texas. Not very good for Madrid or myself. I think we were both without power and without water for a while, but we're alive and we're healthy, and spring is here. The snow is gone. And that means spring ball is right around the corner. So we're doing a bit of a spring ball preview. This will be the offensive video. And then we're going to be releasing a defensive video very soon thereafter, maybe even at the same time. We're still determining it. But yeah, so we're going to break down a little bit about the Sarkisian offense, go into some player personnel and other discussion topics, just so y'all know before we hop into it. And also, as always, please subscribe. We're continuing to grow our channel. Spring ball is a time of spring in general is a time of growth. So much like that, we hope that reflects in our channel as well. So please give us a like, give us a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. So Myers, how about you lead us off? Let's talk a little bit about Sark's offense. What should we be expecting to see in terms of it, and what should we be looking out for?
Right, so we're going to try to structure this preview a little bit with Sark's offense in mind, his philosophy. And the first thing you're going to notice whenever we start, seeing spring practice footage or in the spring game, we're going to see a lot of pre-snap motion from receivers and tight ends and running backs. Also, definitely, we're going to see a lot of prioritizing our playmakers. So obviously, Bijan, maybe Josh Moore, Jake Smith, guys like that will definitely be moved around pre-snap and, isolated when we can. And a lot of RPO action, which I love the RPO. I feel like if you run it right, it's kind of unbeatable, especially when you have more talent than the teams we're playing, which we usually do. So we'll see a lot of that. I think we'll definitely use the tight end a lot more competently. I mean, Herman did use tight ends a lot, but outside of Andrew Beck, who I thought he used pretty nicely in the blocking game, I feel like he definitely, he didn't use Wiley the way he should have. Didn't use him enough at all to begin with. And I think we'll definitely see more, we'll get Wiley more involved and maybe Jatavian next season too. So, the offense will definitely have a whole new look. And I'm excited to see where it goes and how our players adjust, I think having a way more competent game plan going forward. But if you look across the board, really at the offense, there's question marks everywhere in every position group, except for running back. Running back is like the one clear thing where we know what's going to happen and what needs to happen, and personnel-wise especially. We know it's going to be Bijan. But quarterbacks, there's question marks. Offensive line, big question marks everywhere, and receivers as well. So why don't we start off with the quarterback? So I'll toss it to Matt. What are you thinking about Casey and Hudson? I mean, we've talked about it before, and we're going to talk about it more in the future. But just heading into spring, what are you thinking?
See, I don't want to steal your bit a little bit, Trevor, but you said it right before, and you said this is like maybe the biggest decision that Sark has to make while he's here, and I think that's pretty true because, like we said before, one of these guys has the potential to leave if they don't get the job, and starting on the right foot, especially if the quarterback position is a make or break. Personally, I still think Casey's the guy. I just think the amount of eligibility and the amount of upside he has with his legs is a game changer. But then again, Sark doesn't really need a quarterback to use his legs too much. So that's what makes me think he also might take Card instead. But yeah, it's a very, very it's pivotal for this team success to pick the right guy. But I have all the faith in the world in this staff to pick the right guy. So I'm excited. This should be one of the most exciting QB battles we've had in a while. I know we had Sam versus Shane, but I don't know. Were you really excited? Yeah. I mean, I thought Sam would be good, and I thought Shane would be good. But I don't feel like the same we might have if we pick the right guy this could be astronomical, we could really exponential growth on the program. I just think that this year's quarterback battle it's also going to be fun because they're both equally good in their own right. So it'll be fun to watch them in the spring game. And yeah, I'm really excited just to see that go down. What about you, Trevor?
Yeah, like you said, what I said originally. This is huge. This can definitely be a kind of a catalyst to Sark. Well, it is a catalyst to Sark's entire career at Texas. Whether he goes with Card or Casey, and whatever happens as a result of that, I think that's huge because, like you said, there's a very good chance that if he goes with someone and makes it clear that this is who he's going with from the beginning, we very well might lose one of these guys before the season even starts. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we retain both of them, and maybe we have a bit of a quarterback battle throughout the season, and then once you get to the halfway point, there's a clear winner. But that might even come sooner than that. It might be a matter of spring ball. It might be very clear that Casey's that much better than Card, or vice versa. Card's that much better than Casey. And then just the summer is also, even though there's not really practices in the summer up until, fall ball, like a month before the season gets off. That's a critical time for quarterbacks in terms of leadership. So building a rapport with the team, building, trust amongst receivers and gaining friendships and showing off that leadership. If you look at when was this? 2007 Myers, when it was Colt McCoy and Snead that were battling off, and it became very originally apparently they were both very neck and neck, but I think over the summer the reports were that Colt really built a rapport with the team, and the team was all like, yeah, Colt's our quarterback, even though maybe talent wise they were on par. One was the obvious leader in terms of everything and just demanded that attention, and really showed up every day to practice. So that'll be big for these two quarterbacks, I think, is who is the leader. And at the moment, it seems like Casey's more the leader, and that's to be expected with his, longevity here in Texas, and the fact that I think he's going into like technically his senior year of college. So he's been around a while. But also on paper, though, Card and in practice, Card is, I'd say, the clear winner. So it'll be interesting. Leadership and experience versus a higher ceiling. Who wins that out? Myers, feel free to add more onto that, and we'll continue to talk about this because I do have some more points. I just don't want to be talking for 10 minutes straight.
Yeah, doesn't it feel like these are two kind of like a superstars going at it? I mean, I could just
heavyweights. Yeah,
I could see it where the loser ends up, some big time starter at some big time program.
Oh yeah.
Next year to kind of like, Joe Burrow. It'll like, not comparing them to Joe Burrow, but like these situations, quarterback rooms that get stacked up, like at Ohio State, Bama, and then the transfer out and then go have stars be a star at a different school. I definitely could see that here. And that's important for Sark to manage that, because it's not like we have, Cam Rising in the mix too behind them. It's literally Card and then Casey, and then beyond that, it's just so like unproven, like freshmen, right? So he's got to walk that fine line. You can't just, on the one hand, you want to find your quarterback and roll with them, but you got to, I think, at least give them equal reps, even if it's pretty clear. Yeah. Even in spring, who the guy is, you got to at least let Card or Casey, vice versa, get their time to keep them happy and prove themselves, because sometimes it just takes a while for them to start clicking. And I don't think it'll take a while for either of them, to be honest. They're both really good. And I mean, we saw that in the Alamo Bowl. I mean, Casey looked like a beast, and Hudson Card in his limited snaps looks like just a gamer, just uber talented. He looked like that at Lake Travis too. So, man, it's just going to be a lot of fun. Like you said, comparing this quarterback battle to, I don't know, Tyrone Swoops versus Shane Buechele, Gerard Hurd. I mean, Gerard Hurd was hyped up, but
he was.
These guys have more NFL potential, in my opinion. And, with Sark, that's the main thing. It's just kind of Sark, like the quarterback wizard overseeing it all, is what really adds even more, it makes it more compelling. So I just can't wait to, start reading those practice reports. And I just have this strange feeling. I know this is kind of like you can just like I'm hedging by saying, I mean, it's a 50-50 chance either way, but I just feel like Hudson Card might, end up winning the spring. I
Yeah.
just what you heard out of Herman saying that Hudson just makes these magical plays in practice, and I know Casey does too, but I don't know. I mean, Hudson just looks like a freaking stud out there, but that's why they have the battle. So I just can't wait to see what goes down, and I'm hoping it can stay pretty even through the fall, so they can stay locked in with Texas and just keep on moving forward with in burnt orange.
Yeah. It's really like a fit versus upside type thing, and it's kind of like I can honestly like I want Casey, but I think he's gonna go Card just because it's gonna fit better for the offense he wants to run, and it's not a bad thing. I just in my heart I hope that he's able to keep both, but that's gonna be kind of hard to do.
Yeah, definitely going to be tricky. Yeah, I'm so curious to see kind of how Sarkisian goes about doing this and what he values. I mean, we touched on it on our quarterback video, so go watch that if you haven't already. But he definitely has a set of values that he looks for in terms of a quarterback. But what really makes me curious is like how quickly he is to like anoint, or call, a particular quarterback his guy. If that's like going to be a long drawn out thing for him, or if it's going to be pretty quick on, because if that's the case, these spring practices are going to be massive for both of these quarterbacks. Kind of the issue here is, at least from the reports that I've been reading as of late, Card's just a baller flat out, and he very well can win over the spring practice. I mean, yeah, as Myers touched on it, we heard it from Herman just raving about Card. I mean, Sam Ellinger in an interview recently just was, I mean, Sam's going into the NFL draft and he's like, oh yeah, Card can throw the ball way better than I can. Like he's like jealous. Sam is jealous of Card's throwing ability. And he doesn't say that about Casey. Not that Casey's a bad thrower either. I mean, Casey was better than Sam was the entire season in that half against Colorado. But the thing with Casey, though, at least from what I've heard, is that he's more of a gamer quarterback. He shows up in the games and looks really good, kind of like Gerard Hurd did, because apparently Gerard Hurd looked awful in practice, but he played really well in the games, hence why he wasn't a starter early on. And then apparently for Casey is kind of a similar thing to where like he has flashes, but he's not like consistently great. But when the game lights are on, he performs. That'll be interesting in terms of who Sark goes with, because Sark hasn't in person seen Casey or Card in a game. He's only going to see him in practice, and he may make the decision before a game is even played. So it'll be interesting to see like how Casey performs in particular, because we know that Card has the talent and, like we said, probably ultimately a higher ceiling. But if Casey wants the job, he's got to perform in practice and in these spring ball games and continue to make his case as a leader. So a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah. It seems like it's Casey's to lose, and he's holding off a superstar behind him. So We'll see. But that's enough quarterback talk. I mean, we'll touch on it more, definitely. I mean, all the way up to literally the first game probably, and even through the season. So we can hop over to running backs now, where, we have a little baby goat, Bijan Robinson, growing up right there. He's going to shoulder a lot of the load in the offense next year. But we know he's going to be great. We know Sark's going to feature him. I can't wait to see all the motions and cool backside screens, counters that he's going to draw for him just to get him, in the best positions to succeed. But beyond Bijan is where the question marks start coming in. I mean, Roshan's great. If he's healthy, I think he's super good. So him staying healthy is important, because we saw last year when he was banged up, he was not effective at all. And that's how pretty much all running backs are, but still. And then after Roshan, it's Danny Young is back, which is really good for depth because he has a lot of experience. He started as a freshman a lot. So, and then Jonathan Brooks comes in. I don't think he's an early enrollee, but
Is Danny Young still on the team? I thought didn't he look at transferring, or did he transfer? Or
I'm pretty sure he's still on the team. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
The
I thought
name
he
I had
transferred
on the
himself.
field forever, man.
Yeah, no, it gets confusing with all like the COVID year off and stuff. But I've read that he's back, unless he wants to transfer between now and fall. I'm pretty sure.
He took the COVID year. That's why.
Yeah, it took the COVID year. I'm pretty sure.
Gotcha.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're all pretty much in agreement here. Just let the young man cook. Like he should have been cooking last year. I mean, just to add to like a little bit the overview of like Sark in his tenure here, or the beginning of his tenure, it's like everything is open. Like the best players will play, and I think that's going to be a nice change of pace. There's not no longer going to be like the seniority type thing going on. Best players play, and if they're younger, they're younger. And I'm just excited to see especially Bijan, obviously, just to get more reps and carry the load. If it's anything like the offense that featured Najee Harris, then yeah, I'm all in. I could see him in a similar role for sure. And just having Roshan back there and Daniel Young, that's just healthy. That's a good stable right there, and it's probably the most stable position group on offense. So yeah, I'm really excited about that this group a lot.
Yeah, I'm also curious to see Jonathan Brooks. I don't think I'm pretty sure he's not an early enrollee, but
I think so.
just in the fall in general, I'm sure he'll get a few snaps and a few of our easier games. I'm just curious to see how he does at the college level, because he looked really good in high school, but kind of like some of these guys, he was in a smaller division and everything, so his competition wasn't college players. So I'm curious to see how it translates for him, but obviously brings a lot of upside as well. Yeah, I mean, it's Bijan or bust basically for this group, and I know we're all so excited just to see him play and continue to build on those past two games. I mean, K-State and Colorado, he was just, even West Virginia, like he was just an absolute monster. And he wasn't getting the bulk of the carries, really. I mean, maybe those last two he kind of was, but like still, his carry total like wasn't anywhere near what it could be under Sark, who likes to really feature his best players. So yeah, that plus, an off season that he can like truly work on without COVID, and grow, more time with Stan Drayton, more time to study the offense, college experience. Yeah, he can, I mean, I don't know. Sky's the limit for this guy. I was this morning, for some reason, I stumbled across like Reggie Bush highlights, and I never compared Bijan to Reggie Bush, but after watching Reggie Bush, I'm like, he's Reggie. I feel like we've always compared him like Saquon or someone like that, but man, he wears the number 5, I think, for a reason, and Reggie Bush does speak highly of Bijan if you watch him on Fox. So yeah, definitely excited to see number 5 running around for our team. He's probably going to be a focal point.
Yeah.
Myers, you got anything?
Yeah, get some more Bijan highlights for the Texas Platinum Twitter page. Get some more highlights going.
Get us the views, young man.
Yeah. So yeah, running backs is a great spot to be in. As long as Bijan stays healthy, we're sitting pretty. I want to add one more guy, maybe grad transfer there, because we've seen with 3 running backs in the past, as soon as one goes down, problems can happen. I mean, we saw that in 2019. We had to move Roshan there. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll have Brooks in the fall, so that'll help for sure. We got reinforcements coming, but I'd like to have maybe – we still have, what's his name, Gabriel Davis or whatever. That transfer from D3, he's there for depth.
Oh, yeah.
Forgot about him. So that'll be helpful to have the extra body in the room. But, yeah, can't wait to see what they can do. Wide receiver room, when Sark got here, he was pretty outspoken about how we have too many guys in scholarship, too many receivers in the room. And, frankly, of all the guys in the room, only a couple stand out as like playmakers that can be difference makers and make huge plays for us. And off the top of the list, Joshua Moore, Jake Smith, Jordan Whittington, and Troy O'Meary probably. There's a lot of hype around him, but we haven't seen it in any game, so I'll pump the brakes on that for now. And then Kelvonte Dixon is a guy who I really liked out of high school, and for some reason he never really got playing time last year, but I always heard good things about him outside of practice. And I've also read in the offseason workout so far he's impressing Sark with his speed, so I think Sark would definitely prioritize a guy like that early in his tenure. So see a lot more Kelvonte Dixon in the spring. But it's just really a jumbled mess. Honestly, not a mess. There's talent in the room, but it's just a lot of question marks. So what are you thinking about the receiver room, Trevor?
Yeah, I mean, I like the guys that you listed off. That's kind of who I'm thinking to be on the lookout for. Josh Moore definitely has the capability and honestly showed it last year that he can be wide receiver number 1. But last year there'd be games where he just wouldn't play, which didn't make any sense at all to me. I don't think he was dealing with injuries. It didn't seem like a discipline issue. So for now, I'm going to blame it on just Herman's inadequacies, but we'll see, I guess, once we find out how Sark works with Josh Moore and kind of what he blossoms into. So, yeah, I mean, kind of what I'm seeing is like Moore kind of being probably that slot guy. I mean, a lot of people are comparing him, I guess, to kind of what Deonta Smith did at Alabama with him probably being mostly in the slot, but also just moving him around. I can see that. Jake Smith and Whittington are definitely probably our most talented receivers, but both of them are still very underproven. I heard recently someone within the program said the 2 most talented players on our team are Bijan at number 1, obviously. And the number 2, he said, was Whittington. And we really haven't seen much of Whittington in terms of play, being that his freshman year he was hurt for pretty much all of it. And then last year also was dealing with injuries for a lot of it and just wasn't featured very often. So I'm very, very curious to see how Sark features Whittington and Jake Smith. I think he might even move Jake Smith outside, just feature that speed more. Maybe have him and Dixon competing for an outside receiver role, just kind of as a all you do is run go routes basically and see if we can hit you. That's kind of my thoughts there. And then obviously Troy O'Meary, we heard nothing but good things out of camp last spring and fall, fall I guess, up until he got injured and was out for the season. And he's a big dude, like 6'3", 6'4". Definitely physique is very much like Brennan Eagles, so I expect him to be like an X receiver, someone on the outside to kind of hold that spot down. A lot of our receivers now going forward are going to be shorter guys, different from our Colin Johnsons and other trees that we used to recruit.
Massive.
I'm totally fine with. I think speed is almost more important these days than size. So yeah, those are kind of the guys that I think we're all most focused on and probably looking out for. Curious to see how, Avante Woodard, if he truly makes a push here. I mean, he's been around for a while. He's got a lot of talent, but just hasn't seemed to really crack the depth chart too much. Your guy, Marcus Washington, is he gonna make a move, or is he gonna have to transfer? And then Brennan School are also someone to, I guess, look out for. We'll have to see. You're out on Washington?
I don't know if I'm out on Washington, but I don't know. I just don't see his path. His path to the playing time doesn't look as clear as it once used to be. I think the big question mark here is as I wouldn't say Brennan Eagles was reliable, but he was good enough to be reliable on the outside, right? Opposite side, Joshua Moore, right? Like, just, like a good receiver, like a goodish receiver. But it's that opposite side of Joshua Moore that I'm really, really curious about. I really do think it just comes down to Dixon and Omir, basically. And personally, I'd like to see what Omir has, just because we haven't seen it. And we poached him for a reason. I just want to see it. I think this receiver room gets really smaller as time goes on and gets closer to the season. I'm really interested to see Josh Moore's evolution. Big fan of that guy. His story is great. His comeback is great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rooting for that guy 100%. He has all the skills in the world. And if he just was a little more consistent, we'd hear more talk about him nationally for real. And I think this year in this offense, he has that opportunity to be that number one guy to really take control of it. Guys like the walk-ons of transfers, like Brandon Schooler and guys that just don't even see the field that much. Like, I'm ready for those guys to go away in the nicest way. Just because I want to see the best talent on the field, especially at the wide receiver position. I feel like that's something that's been kind of holding us back in the past. We've been lucky with 1.5 good years, Colin Johnson, and then like a stable Devin Duvernay. But we haven't really had that stable, I feel, in a while. And I think this is what this offense really caters to, that kind of stable wide receiver. So yeah, just Josh Moore's evolution. I just need him to be more consistent. And then guys like Jake Smith and Jordan Whittington are going to be like those kind of gadget guys that I think Sark uses a lot. He's going to move around a lot. A full season of Jordan Whittington featured and healthy. I feel like last year he finally got the ball rolling a little bit. We got to see what he really could be used like. And Jake Smith, work on not dropping balls. I think he'll get better too. But yeah, it really comes down to Josh Moore, Jake Smith, and Jordan Whittington, in my opinion, and then sprinkle in some Troy O'Meara, and I think you've got a really, really good receiver room that could build for the rest of the season. So it looks a little shaky now, but I think this is one of those positions where it'll even out as we get close to the season.
Agreed. Myers, you're on mute.
Y'all boys are disrespecting Malcolm Epps. I mean,
he's a tight end.
I'm just kidding. That's debatable.
We'll talk about him later.
Yeah, I agree with Madrid, especially with the attrition part. Kind of like we said with quarterbacks, you got to keep them both happy, give them split the reps, even if it's kind of clear who's the better guy, at least up to fall. With receiver room, you got to identify the top 7, 8, 9 guys and play those guys. Give them the reps, and then beyond that, just kind of, put the writing on the wall that it's probably not going to happen here at Texas because, we need to definitely thin that room out with all the talent in state that we seem to be looking good for, the receiver rooms, and California, St. Louis. There's guys all over the country that can be better than what we have right now, and we're looking good with all those recruits. So definitely, getting the attrition going, the healthy attrition, not our top guys, but. Yeah, that's definitely a priority for Sark, and just identifying who's going to be the main guy, which Joshua Moore is definitely the prime candidate for that. So, yeah, I can't wait to see how the depth chart looks and how the reps get distributed in the spring game. All right, so now we're moving on to tight ends, which is honestly pretty interesting now with Sark in the mix. He's got a good track record with tight ends, especially at Bama. So we got Jared Wiley in the room, who we've been hoping and praying that he finally would get utilized, and it looks like he may have a good chance to do that now. And then obviously K. Brewer comes back for a 5th year, and then Gunnar Helms coming in the summer, I believe. Leibrock's still here from Arizona. Jatavion Sanders obviously comes in the summer. So a lot of bodies in this room.
Disrespecting Malcolm Epps. Now it's you.
Hey, I was hyping him up in the receiver room. All right, that man is a receiver.
Is he not a tight end? You think he'll be moved around?
Honestly, he should have played basketball.
Yeah.
Picked the wrong sport, kid.
But no, he's pretty good on those options with
Yeah.
Hudson Card. So maybe keep him as an option receiver type option. So, anyways, Jared Wiley obviously is the talk here. He's just so much potential, such a giant. Looks like an NFL body out there, and he showed the ability, especially against TCU, to catch and run really nicely. His blocking is good. I think it could be better, but if he can maximize, if he can maximize his blocking and take that next step, he's going to be NFL potential right there, especially if he gets featured more in the offense, which I think he will. I mean, at Alabama, I believe his name was Billingsley. I mean, he played on the outside a little bit too. He's kind of like a tight end receiver hybrid, and I think we can do that with Jared Wiley definitely. Also played in the inside some. So, Jared Wiley's the main focal point here, and hopefully K. Brewer can find a role somewhere, maybe as a blocker on special teams. But it's got to be Wiley all day long. So, not much to talk about, honestly. Madrid, what do you got about the tight ends?
Look, we've been calling for Jared Wiley since this channel was created, since this podcast was created. That had been our guy since day one, especially since when he followed us early on. I don't know if he still does, but yeah, that's our guy. You got a lot of question marks behind Jared Wiley. Like, I just feel like this is his room, his position to take over. It's just about time. He's got all the potential in the world. I really don't see anyone else. I mean, I guess Cade Brewer just for like for stability on the back end, but I think it's really his turn to step forward, and I think Sark sees that as well. He'll use the tight end just like you did, Bama, and it'll be utilized in different ways. Other than that, Malcolm Epps, I guess we'll see maybe if he gets any run there. I see him a little bit more of as a wide receiver too, now that I think about it. But, yeah, it's Jared Wiley or bust for me.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I think we're all pretty much in agreement with Wiley and kind of the layout of the starting players and such for this position group. Yeah, I don't know. Malcolm Epps is an interesting guy, and I'm really, really, really curious. I mean, I hope that he stays on the team. I'm assuming he will, but I'm very curious to see how Sark places him in whatever position he needs to. I've been an advocate for that. I guess I haven't said it loud enough, but I always wanted Tom Herman to put Wiley and Malcolm Epps like on the opposite sides of the O-line and just have like a tree package. You could call it the tree formation, and just have these 2 6'7" giant body guys just like almost run across the field and like just dare the DBs to like try to double team them. And I think that'd be I want to see them on the field together, just because they're both so giant. I mean, Malcolm Epps isn't very fast. I mean, we've seen him run. He's more of a galloping stallion, but
yeah, right.
Dude can catch, and he's a big dude, and I mean, he's caught a touchdown I think pretty much every year that he's played, so in some capacity. So he's a good guy, and also very interested to see how Librock develops. I liked what I saw out of him and his very limited snaps. Just something about him I like, and maybe not this season, because I'm guessing that Wiley, like we said, is going to be the featured guy and maybe get drafted because he's a junior at this point after this season. But long term, very curious to see how Librock develops, and then like you said, we got Gunnar Helm, who's a tight end who'll be he's an early enrollee, new signee, also pretty relatively hyped up guy. So curious to see if he cracks the rotation at all, or if he redshirts behind this pretty deep room.
Before we move on, just to add, like, I think towards maybe not at the beginning of the season, but as time goes on, it'll turn into Jared Wiley and Jatavion Sanders' position.
Yeah,
I
haven't even touched on Sanders.
Yeah, I just think that's the direction that this offense goes. Just 2 big, athletic tight ends, and then just kind of one after another. I think that's what it eventually turns into.
I'm curious if Sanders is going to be on defense, though. That's why I haven't really mentioned him. It's because I think he'd be I think he's a good fit for Coach K's outside linebacker position, potentially. Big body guy. But we'll talk about that in the defense video. Anything else, Myers, for tight ends, or move on to O-line?
Jatavian definitely needs to primarily play on the edge, but you still got to, I think, get him in the game for at least like a couple targets a game at tight end, maybe 5 or 7 plays, throw it to him a couple times because he's just like a man-child that moves very fast and fluidly for his size, and I think he'd cause a lot of problems for linebackers and DBs trying to cover him. So Jatavian's got to play both ways. He wants to play tight end when he gets to Texas. I think that's where he's at right now. So I think he'll play tight end, and him and Wiley, like y'all said, would be definitely the direction to go, in my opinion. And lastly, I want to apologize for my Malcolm Epps slander. I forgot he did really well for us last year. He made some really big plays against TCU, had a really clutch touchdown, and against
K-State.
And then also he recovered that onside kick against Texas Tech.
That's right.
That was a big deal. Okay, I'll take it back.
Yeah. We complimented him on our shows this season. We always said he doesn't play often, but when he plays, he shows up.
Yeah, he does, definitely. So maybe he'll get some run. Who knows? Sark could love him. So, yeah, anyways, tight end room's interesting. We got some guys there that I think if Librock can put on some more weight, I think he's got a lot of potential too. So, yeah, it should be interesting to see how they do in Sark's system. Offensive line, coming into the offseason, it was supposed to be like some big exodus, but Okafor's back for his 6th year.
Nice.
And Kerstetter looks to be back. I don't know, though, with his injury because it's pretty serious. Like he broke his fibula or something and then also broke his ankle. So I don't know if we can expect him back, but maybe by like OU weekend he can be back. I don't know if he'll be back for the fall, but if you do get him back, that's a huge boost to the O-line because that's 2 guys that have played a lot and started. And you still have Junior Angulau, who started the last 2 years, who's really good back. And then Jake Majors is like a rising star at center, it seems. So, and then obviously Andre Karich and then a bunch of other guys behind them that also show some promise. So I think you got a good core there if they can stay healthy to build around and some experience in the room now too with Okafor and Kerstetter back. What do y'all think, Trevor?
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Kyle Flood goes about this in comparison to why am I blanking on his name? It's been so long. Yeah, that's right. Cook Hand.
Yeah.
The chef. I'm curious. I mean, all the crap that we gave Herb Hand about recruiting, which was well deserved. But development-wise, Herb Hand wasn't that bad. I mean, especially these young guys have really looked good. I'm curious to see how kind of Flood's philosophy in terms of O-lineman, if he's going to move these guys around a lot and give them different looks, or if he's a firm believer in certain O-linemen really sticking to certain positions. Like we said, Jake Majors definitely has looked fantastic, to be blunt, in his time at center in these past couple games. Granted, it wasn't really against good teams, so I'm curious to see how he'd do against like a Oklahoma or an Arkansas and see how he handles it, as well as Carriage and Junior. Junior, I feel more confident in. He's going to be Junior's going to be a junior, I think, this season. So definitely someone to look out for. Kerstetter, if we could get him as a tackle, that'd be great. That's probably if he wants to go to the NFL. I think he's more of a guard in terms of his physique, but at least at the college level, I think the tackle is probably the best position for him. Mm-hmm. So that's just my thoughts. Tackles is definitely going to be our weakness, which I'm not happy about because that's a very important position. You got Christian Jones, who we saw a fair amount of last season, but really struggled. So I hope that he's able to improve and kind of learn from this past season and develop and get to a point, because he definitely could be a really good guy for us. Reese Moore has also been in the program for a while. Curious to see if he cracks the lineup at all or is making moves in the spring ball. So definitely a guy to be on the lookout for as well. And then Hookfin, Isaiah, right? Isaiah Hookfin.
Is that
Yeah,
Hookfin?
this guy was a very touted recruit when we got him. He's a massive dude. He's a clear tackle, very talented guy that has kind of had a little bit of bad luck with some injuries and then a redshirt year last season. I remember early on, a lot of people were like, oh, he's like a clear starting tackle, but just wasn't quite ready yet. And people being like, why is Hookfin not playing? Why is Hookfin not, in the rotation when we were struggling at offensive line these past couple seasons? And there was a reason that he wasn't, in that rotation. And I hope that he can put it together because we need tackles, a great tackle now more than ever with Cosme gone. He was kind of our rock, and hopefully he goes out in the first round. I expect him to after a really good pro day with Texas. Also got to look out for. I mean, pretty much all these offensive linemen, we got to be watching closely and seeing, how they're doing and what the lineup's going to be like. And but I feel very confident in particularly Jake Majors Jr., probably Carrick. But then the tackles, it's a bit of a question mark.
Yeah.
I mean, Okafor you would think, but he also hasn't been fantastic either by any stretch. And if Christian Jones and Hookfin can get up to their potential, I think they could very well surpass him at the tackle position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want to add on that I want to see some stuff out of Tyler Johnson and Jalen Garth. I know Garth has had
Tyler Johnson.
But Tyler Johnson was one of the highest rated. He's probably our highest rated offensive lineman in the room, out of high school at least. And we finally started to see him come in and do some good stuff against Colorado and Kansas State. He got some playing time, but he's been a guy that as soon as he got on campus, everything you'd hear is like, this guy is a couple years away, and now it's a couple years down the road. And I mean, he was a 5-star for a while during the recruiting process. He didn't finish a 5-star, but still, the talent's there. I would love to see him, take that step and just take hold of one of those positions because it's open. Those position battles are all open. No one's really penciled in for sure starter besides maybe Angulau, I would think. And and then also Jalen Garth is a guy that I really liked out of Port Neches Grove. He played with Roshan in high school, and he looked really good, but he had really bad injuries. He was super athletic, I thought, at his size, and he was highly ranked as well, but he just kind of disappeared since he arrived on campus, mainly because of injuries. So I'm hoping he can just get healthy and make a push because I think he, at least at the beginning of it, before he got injured, was going to be one of the most talented guys on campus as an O-lineman. So I'd love to see him start to put things together, and I think Tyler Johnson's we're starting to see it actually happen, but Garth's still a little bit behind. So if those two guys can start, making moves, then we'll have a lot of guys. We'll have that 7 to 8, which is what you look for. You want to have like 7 guys on the O-line that can play. 8 is like a cherry on top. So if we can get there, which I think we have a lot of able bodies like we've been talking about, those 2 guys will put us over the top, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you guys summed it up perfectly. This group has the potential. Like if it goes bad throughout the season, like it could hold us back like really bad. But I don't think that'll happen. Hopefully. Because on the opposite side, I think all these guys can be really solid. It's just right now there's a lot of moving parts. A lot of the guys might be playing, and like a lot of guards might be having to play tackle guards. There might be like a carousel going on for a while, at least until Kirkstetter comes back. And I feel like he's the real missing piece here. Eventually, because if we get him back, oh my god, I think we have that we have a stud center in the making, Jake Majors, and him on the tackle, and then the experience with Okafor, and then Christian Jones, Carriage, Logan Parr. I think we got the guys to handle this offense and to really carry us, carry Bijan, quite frankly, too. I'm hearing rumors or reading rumors that like Tyler Johnson's coming for Denzel Okafor's spot, which I wouldn't be too upset to see. Matt said it; he's been looking great, and he's a guy we're all kind of high on. So yeah, this spring will be telling. I think there's going to be a lot of moving parts. But I think once it's established, and at least when Kirkstetter's back, which might be a while, but it'll be really nice. I think better than last year personally. So hopefully.
Yeah. Anything else on offensive linemen? I mean, we've talked about it pretty in depth, so we're probably good on that position. And then, as we kind of touched on, early enrollees, be on the lookout for Gunnar Helm at tight end. We'll see if he does anything. Jaden Alexis Myers, I know that you've talked about him previously. Any thoughts on him? He's also an early enrollee for the offensive group.
Yeah, he's a super stud. Probably one of our best receiver athletes on the team immediately. So I don't know if he's polished enough, he might play a lot because I think he's a lot more talented than, at least with all the skill set. He's really athletic, really fast, really quick. So I think he could definitely make some moves right now in the receiver room.
I like it. And he's more of an inside guy, right?
It's hard to tell. I think he can play both, honestly. But yeah, I would lean inside based on what I've seen out of him in film.
Yeah.
He's smaller, so yeah, you would think inside.
Yeah. Okay. So kind of last things before we wrap up this episode. Let's all collectively give let's give our 3 players to watch, to be on the lookout for in spring ball, besides the obvious. The quarterback room is obvious. Bijan's obvious. Jake Smith
Look out for Bijan.
Whittington are all obvious. Who are players that you should be really looking out for that are not obvious?
I think one of them we said already is Tyler Johnson.
Okay.
I think he might surprise people in spring. Hopefully, hopefully that's right. I think he's definitely one of them for sure. Personally,
yeah.
Probably. I'll go Kelvonte Dixon.
That's who I was right about to say.
All right. Okay, I'll go Andre Karich then.
No. Go with Dixon. But
yeah, Dixon is just a guy that, early reports. I know it's summer off season, doesn't mean anything, but the staff really likes his speed, and we saw the potential last season whenever he did get targeted. Just got really good speed. He's kind of got like the Bama, not quite, Jalen Waddle or anything like that, but he's kind of got that Bama speed where it's just like, damn, that guy looks fast on those slant routes. So I think if he takes another step, he'll be really good for us, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him just like a bona fide starter by spring's end. So yeah, Kelvonte Dixon.
I could either say, I guess he's obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think Troy O'Meara is definitely someone for mostly to see, like, how's this guy looking post-injury? Is he as good as what people hyped him up to be the previous season before he got hurt? Can he hold down that outside X position? I'm definitely going to be watching out for him, even though he's definitely more of an obvious one. But if we want to cheat a little bit and give a fourth one of someone that's a little bit less obvious, I was saying earlier, but Christian Jones, I'm curious to see if he improves or if he kind of looks the same. I hope he improves.
I feel like you could get a lot of them from the O-line, like a lot of the guys.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the whole O-line group.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But Christian Jones in particular, because he got a lot of playing time, but he seemed to really be struggling, especially early on. Maybe he fixed it up. Well, he did fix it up kind of as the season progressed, but especially like against Oklahoma and those mid-season games, he was really having some issues. So curious to see how he develops.
Same here.
Okay. Any other final touching points before we wrap this thing up? Who do we think is the strongest position room?
Running backs.
I'd say quarterback.
Oh yeah, definitely. No.
And Card. Because outside of Bijan, I mean Roshan's good, but it's not like.
I'm tempted to say wide receiver just because how many there are. And you have like a lot of options.
Yeah.
But I definitely say QB then. This is like star power. Just those two guys. Like they carry so much.
Yeah. This QB thing, like we said, I think it's going to be the make or break for this whole team, essentially. I'm not saying that picking either of the two is going to result in us not playing well, because I think both of them can be really good, as we've said 100 times. So, yeah, I'm just curious to see what the direction. I've heard, I mean, I've even heard like some reports of like people that are within the program that are so confident in Hudson Card. They're saying like, put like $20 down on Hudson Card to win the Heisman this season, because it's such a small chance. But some people in the program are that confident in him to where they'd be willing to like even put like $100 down if you got the money for it, because the odds are so great that if he's by some miracle that he wins, you're going to be a rich man.
Why not?
And they're that confident in his abilities. So I'm excited to see.
I can't wait.
Him in practice, just because, like I said, like we've said in previous episodes, I feel like Herman really didn't show very much of Card whenever he played in the games. He was pretty much doing little screen passes, and he wasn't really going downfield with the ball. So curious to see how he airs it out, because that's his strong suit.
Agreed.
All right, well, I say that wraps up this show. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and be on the lookout for our defense breakdown coming up real soon. As to when they'll be coming out, you'll find out more a little bit later. But yeah, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to continue to try to grow this channel, and especially provide a little bit more content now that Snowpocalypse is over and all is better in the world right now and in the state. So anything else, guys?
It's good for me. Go Texas. It was probably will come out before after the men's basketball. So hopefully in the future, when you're seeing this, we have won.
Yes. Calling the shot right there. I like it. All right. See you guys. Y'all take care.
Yeah.